Hey legends, and welcome to the very first chat with Matt for 2020, and I'm kicking this year off with a big bang, talking to Brendan Hunt, who is probably our most successful Aussie export obstacle racer. And if you're watching live, guys, give me a hashtag live. If you are watching a replay, give me a hashtag replay so Brendan and I know who's online and who's watching. And if you are, you would know Brendan if you're active in the sport. He's very hard to miss. He's pretty loud and flamboyant. I think that's why him and I get along so well. He's won an elite Spartan race at every distance except ultra, I believe. He's won elite Spartan races in 10 different countries around the world, and he's often sharing the podium with his wife Jade Hunt, who is one of the most successful female Spartan racers in the world as well. So I'll bring him on, guys, and say hello, make him feel welcome. Here he is. Brendo, how are you, mate?
Hey, how are we?
Good, buddy, good. How's your afternoon?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. It's a bit cruisy, but it's real hot here, so we're just trying to stay cool under the fans.
Nice. And Funzi's just letting us know she's live. We've got a couple of people jumping on. So, how's your holidays, mate?
Mate, I haven't really had many. I've sort of with my work, we get a few days on, and then we get a couple of days off. So it's just in the off. It's been fairly busy. I've actually been sent away on a couple of strike teams with work. So in my off days, I go away to work and then come back on my normal shifts. So
for anyone who doesn't know, Brendan is a fire with the New South Wales Fires.
Yeah, Fire Rescue New South Wales. That's it.
Yeah, and so while we've all been in the off season, probably relaxing a little bit, he's been about as busy as ever in the off season, which is not good news. But it's when things are burning when you're a fire, it's good, I guess. But yeah, it's not at the moment. It's not good. Yeah, mate, has that rain slowed it down at all? That rain that came through, I flew out. I'm on the Gold Coast at the moment, but I flew out of Sydney on the weekend, and it was sort of been torrential for like 2 days. So has it slowed it down much?
It's been a good help. There's a few. I think they said there was something like 60 fires still burning across the state. But yeah, it has been a big help. We've got sort of a bit of a handle on things now, and there's a lot more moisture in the air and a lot more moisture on the ground. So there is still a few things kicking off, and tomorrow is meant to be pretty crappy conditions. Hot weather and a bit of wind around. So sort of touch and go there, but it's not as dire as it has been, so which is always good news.
Good to hear. And we've got a couple of people jumping on. Mike's letting me know he's live. Jim Bull's with us. Bullard, the Bull, is here saying hello. Mike's just saying thanks for an awesome job, mate. And Matty Probes is on as well, letting us know that he's live. So mate, I had a couple of people asking questions for today. You're a popular man. So we'll get through all of those pretty shortly. Do I have a bit of your time this afternoon, this evening, to have a chat?
Ask away, yeah, definitely.
Cool, man. All right. So look, we'll get straight into it. And this is an open forum, guys. So if you do have any questions for Hunty, let me know. I will try and get to every question that is asked. So if you don't ask, you don't get. But mate, I guess we'll start at the beginning. How did you get started in OCR? Give me a bit of your fitness background.
I sort of come from a running background. I did a lot of cross country and athletics in high school and that. And then in 2012, I actually went for Special Forces selection when I was still in the Air Force, and I spent a whole year sort of training up for that and preparing for that, and didn't make it in, obviously, but I was at a really good level of fitness. I was quite strong, quite fit. And then, like I said, I dedicated a whole year to training. So I was like, there's no way I'm going to sort of throw all this away and just, sit around and do nothing. So I sort of needed another challenge, and I was living with a mate at the time, and we're like, we'd heard of these Tough Mudders, and we're like, you know what, let's dive in and do one of those. which is ultimately where the mankini came from as well. I guess we're going to touch on that at some point in this chat.
We will.
But yeah, we did a Tough Mudder, and yeah, sort of like I said, coming from a running background, I wouldn't say I cruised through the Tough Mudder, but I just did it comfortably. And then I think it was about 2 weeks after that, I did a 7-kilometer Spartan race down in Picton. I think it was the first one in Picton, the second one ever held in Australia, I think it was, and it smoked me. It absolutely hammered me. And I was like, how can you do a 20-kilometer Tough Mudder and a 7-kilometer Spartan race and they be so different? So like, I've got to find out more about these Spartan races. And yeah, it just went from there. Just started signing up to a few more events and got my first pair of Innovate 180, ex-Talon 180s, I think they were back in the day, the red and white ones. And
Cool.
yeah, sort of just went from there. So
Nice. And you haven't looked back. You've taken over the world of Australian obstacle racing and internationally as well. And you sort of said there you did a Tough Mudder and then you tried a Spartan and they were sort of so different. What is the difference? Why do you think the Spartan is so much tougher? I tend to lean towards Spartan. I've obviously played with both. I tend to prefer Spartans. But what do you think the differences are? Explain it to people.
I just think the Tough Mudder's more geared. This is obviously my personal opinion. The Tough Mudder's more geared towards like come and try with your mates. You know, you all band together. You get through the course together. They've got a lot of you know, the one I did had a lot of like banana and water stops along the way, and you know, there's a lot of high fiving, a lot of sort of team sort of orientated type thing. And the Spartan race was a race, you know, it was every man for himself. There was, you started off, there's an actual photo floating around from years ago where there was all the OGs from Spartan race, you know, Matty Murphy's there, Will Lind, like all the old guys are in this one photo. And the start was insane. You ran straight down into a dam, across the dam, and it was like guys were just tearing over each other. But I think also, like the positioning, the obstacles in a Spartan race are harder, but the way they position them as well, you know, throughout the course, you know, they'll have monkey bars and then you'll go straight up into like a sandbag carry hill climb and then, you know, back down into a barbed wire crawl. So you're jacking the heart rate up. And then the element of burpees on top of all of that is just, you know, if you get burpees throughout the race, you just, you know, it's not game over, but it certainly plays a big part of the race. So I think just those two differences between the events and the way they sort of run them makes Spartan race just a lot harder. You know, the courses seem a bit hard as well. So
yep, yeah, it is much more competitive, and they've removed the prize money out of Tough Mudder now. So obviously there's some bad things happening with Tough Mudder worldwide at the moment. I know Australia isn't too affected by it because it's a franchise, but I know they're in a bit of trouble over in the States and over in Europe. But yeah, they removed their prize money completely a year or two ago. So it is a much more competitive event, the Spartan. And we've got a few more people jumping on. We've got Christine, Corey, Corey's asked a question I'll get to soon. Tammy, Donna, Ian, Janelle, how you going, guys? Jim Bullard's just asked a question, just saying what he thinks of the Spartan takeover of Tough Mudder. So I think Obstacle Racing Media released something the other day talking about, I think, Section 11, which I think means Joe has been appointed as a negotiator or something, Joe DeSena. So
yeah, I did hear that. I guess it's interesting, yeah. Interesting take. I did read that they were going to try and leave Tough Mudder the way it is and sort of have, you know, Spartan race owning or running or taking over Tough Mudder, whatever that entails, but then leaving sort of Tough Mudders the way they are and having their Spartan races the way they are. So
yeah, that'd be cool. I hope that's the way it goes. I hope they do let it run as its own sort of entity and its own character, because it is a different race. It does have a different feel. So
exactly, yeah.
Corey's letting me know there's heaps of echo. Not sure if it's just me, Corey. My audio is really good on my side. Just let me know, guys, if everyone's seeing the bad audio, and Jim's just saying, how do you think it will change things? Yeah, I'm hoping it doesn't change much. I hope they just come in and handle the business things and find a couple of ways, that they can pick up efficiencies and make the business profitable. But what do you think? Would you like Tough Mudder or Spartan to change, mate? Or?
Mate, I think if they do leave them sort of the way they are, like, it's the age-old saying, if it's not broken, why try and fix it? Tough Mudder are pretty good at things. Spartan races are top-notch. We obviously love them and love racing and that. So they each have their pros and cons. Tough Mudder are not obviously competitive anymore, not offering prize money and that, the standard events and stuff. But they get, they used to get heaps and heaps of numbers there because of what they are. They are a really good, put a group of mates together and go and bang out a Tough Mudder together. Whereas, Spartan rapes they have that racing element to it. It's, super competitive and they get, equally good numbers at their events too. So keep them separate, run them the way they will run and fix up the holes here and there that they needed to sort of improve, and leave them as is and run them as is and see how it goes, I guess.
Yeah, cool. Everyone's just letting me know the audio's good. So, sweet, man. All right, and so you've been... OCR's sort of been your main sport for a while now. Do you play... Do you do anything else? I see you at various running events here and there, but do you get involved in any other sports?
Mate, I don't sort of do anything else too competitively. Well, that's a lie. My whole life is I race Jade to brush my teeth. So competitive.
Do you let her win?
I love it. I love dabbling in everything. The back shed's sort of full of all the gear. We got a couple of surfboards, we got snowboards. I've even got a wakeboard in there which I'm sort of hoping to take out. That's been a while, but I just bought myself a new mountain bike, which I can see myself getting hurt on. I'm touching wood right now just to not jinx myself, but I'm getting a lot more confident on it very quickly, and I need to keep reminding myself that it's the start of the racing season and not the end, and I also have a job to do, and my bones don't bend like they used to, they more break. So that's another thing. But yeah, mate, I love it all. Like, I sort of on the weekend just went up with a mate, Ryan Roberts. He's one of the OGs of racing.
Yeah.
And we did it all: surfing, bike riding, running. I like I said, I don't really do anything else competitively, but mate, whatever you got to throw at me, I'll give it a go and have some fun with it. So.
Being active's the way of life. Cool,
yeah.
man. Cool. And what does your standard training week look like? You're obviously on the Spartan Pro roster, so you're one of the better guys at this in the world. What does your training look like to stay at that level?
Mate, I try and keep it, try and mix it up a bit. I think if you don't, you just, you start getting a bit stagnant with it. I sort of found that a bit last year. I was just, I think I'd relied on a bit too much of just natural running talent type thing, and it got me some good results in the past, but I was just sort of, at a point where it was like, this is, I need to change it up. But generally it will involve, at the end of the day, Spartan race is a running race, so you need to be running in between the obstacles efficiently. There's a few conflicting sort of ideas about, you need to be moving through the obstacles efficiently, and, I can see what people are saying about that, but at the end of the day, you need to be running quick. So, a fair bit of running.
Yeah.
And then I'll do a fair bit of body weight type stuff. You want to be lean, but you want to be sort of strong to be able to whack that 20 kilo sandbag on the shoulders and punch up the hill pretty quickly. So, I'll do, we head out and train out at, Burns Outdoor Obstacle Training with Wayne and Lorelei.
I was out there with you last weekend.
Yeah, exactly. We'll probably try and get out there a lot more consistently now that the season's about to start. And it's, it's always good to keep your obstacles current. So, they got a great setup out there, which we train on a bit. I'll do a bit of weights. I don't like to do a ton of weights and be super strong and bulky in that. I obviously, like to be strong, but don't like to put a ton of bulk on. So I think if you just got, strong legs and strong core, and you can hang off a bar for, a bit of time, then, you got good grip strength. You'll get through a race sort of fairly well. So that's generally the things that I'll focus on.
Yeah, I tend to go the same way. If I'm getting somebody ready for a race, I'll usually gear them towards obstacle completion at the start, so that they're not just having a burpee-a-thon. And then once they have that base strength level, then start to tip everything into getting that running capacity up and that aerobic capacity. So I guess if you're carrying unnecessary muscle, you're going to be heavy. That is going to hurt your running. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, like you said, you get people are starting out, get them through those obstacles early, so you got some form of technique, and then you can start working on getting through the races quicker than that. So
yep. And how do you go with the obstacles, mate? Is there anything you fail? Are you pretty clinical with it?
The spear throw, obviously it's 50-50, but I think you can. There is a bit of technique to the spear throw, and I think you can sort of bring that figure, your completion rate of that up a lot higher than what people think. There's this sort of idea out there that's either hit or miss, and there's you can't really improve on that. But I think that you build yourself a target and you start throwing some spears, and you work out what technique works for you. And I think there's a sort of a general idea that if you follow some general rules with it, and then put your own twist on it with whatever works for you, then I think you can, like I said, you can sort of really increase your hit rate with that. Yep. Other than that, mate, I've sort of I'm pretty fortunate, I think, with being able to train out at Burns and whatnot. That I'm pretty good with the obstacles. The twist is always a tricky one, but again, there's some good technique tips out there. Generally when the monkey bars are pretty slippery, you just take them a little bit slower and cruise through them a bit more just to be more safe. But yeah, there's nothing sort of else that I actually had the privilege of doing the ape hanger in the Barcelona race, which was you jump in the water, climb the rope out of the water, and then it's like a set of sort of horizontal ladders, sort of free swinging ladders that you got to work your way across rather than just monkey bars. And that was awesome, absolutely awesome obstacle. I'd never done that before. And they were like covered in mud and really slippery, but yeah, managed to get through that the first go. So I surprised myself there. But other than that, nothing really sort of too daunting, I guess.
Yeah, cool. And going back a sec, just while we were talking about the running, was just a question that I had Mike ask yesterday or the day before, which was, how long do you run on a daily basis to prepare for OCR? So I think he's saying what sort of Ks are you running a week? Mike is a runner. He's one of my clients, so this will interest him.
It really depends what you've got coming up, what you're focusing on. It's our racing is so hard to be, to say, all right, I'm going to do 100K a week, because you might be, depends. Are you training for the APAC championships in when are they, September or August or something like that? Which is a 21 kilometer beast, or are you training for the first race of the season, the stadium race, which is going to be a 5 to 7 kilometer, heart rate jack through the roof type race. So really depends what you're focusing on, what your goals are. I think if you get like a bit of a track session in your running sort of once a week, just to keep that fast leg turnover happening, get a bit of speed in the legs, I think that's always good. A long run, I try and get a bit of a long run in. I don't generally enjoy the longer runs. I don't know why. I come from a running background. I think I've done my time doing longer runs. So whenever you say, all right, it's long run time, I was like, I drag the heels a bit. But you get it done. And then I think a bit of a threshold run, sitting on sort of like 80, 85, 90% of your max heart rate, just to sort of see where you're at. And that it's always a good idea to throw. If you've got like a 5 kilometer loop or an 8 kilometer loop, maybe make that your test time trial, and do that, every 3 weeks or something, just to see how you're going and where you're at. Yep. It really depends. I realise I haven't really answered that question, but
no, you have, because you sort of said depends what you're training for.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess start out focus on what you want to focus, like what you want to sort of aim towards, and then if it's the longer race, then you're going to be sort of upping your Ks and that. The shorter, harder stuff, track sessions are really good to build that quick leg turnover and that sort of high intensity type training. So,
Cool. And what are you training for? I guess you've won podiums at every event except at every Spartan event except an ultra. Is there a favourite event for you? And is there something that you specifically say, all right, I'm going to train to win these events, and anything else I pick up's a bonus?
Well, first and foremost, I think that sort of speaks for itself. The fact that I haven't even done an ultra yet, let alone try and win one. So
you did say you don't like long runs.
It kills me. My knees die on me now. So, and I think the fact that there's the guns out there like Danzy and Quinton and now Liam coming through that are all like, they love the longer stuff. So they can keep that. Like that's all their domain. I generally like the shorter, quicker stuff. The sprint supers. And I love stadium races. I just love that really fast pace, high intensity. Your heart rate jacks through the roof type thing. I really seem to enjoy them, a lot. But yeah, I guess it's sort of, I don't mind doing sort of any races and that, but I enjoy the shorter stuff definitely.
Cool. And how do you reckon you're going to go at Stadion in February?
Yeah, it's tough. It's really hard. You really can't sort of say how you're going to go. I think I'm running all right at the moment. I'm not nowhere near where I want to be, but yeah, I'm sort of getting there, and I think the race, a lot of it comes down to landing that spear because it's such a short, fast race. I've done it.
Everything's got to be clinical, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's no room for error in the stadium race. So, I've done a few of them, and like I said, I've loved them and sort of got through them all right. So, I think it's just from now till then, train some stairs and build up the leg strength and train with that heart rate jacked and see how we go. It'll be interesting. There's quite a few boys out there that are putting in the miles and putting in some good sessions. So yeah, come race day, it'll be really interesting to see who gets up there.
Yeah, definitely. I'm hoping to chat to Chris Woolley in the next couple of weeks, but before the stadium, just so I can G him up a little bit. But he just ran a couple in the tail half of 2019 over in the States and podiumed a couple. So I reckon he'll be pretty hard to beat as well.
He's looking a bit pudgy after Christmas and New Year. We'll see how, I don't know whether he'll be on the star line. I think he's actually a bit scared to race the boys and that. So
are you going to run the stadium in your mankini, mate?
Mate, we tried to get a wave. I won't on the elite race in the morning.
Take that one seriously.
Yeah, I just need to focus on the race. But yeah, there was a few of us that tried to get a bit of a mankini wave going on after it, but there was a little bit of interest generated in it, but then there was a few negative Nancys, not naming any names, Chelsea, that tried to shut it down pretty quick. So I don't really know if it's gone ahead. It's sort of gone a bit quiet since then. So we'll see. We'll see. I'd like to get a bit of a mankini wave going on after.
We'll see if we can stir it up a little bit. I'm supposed to be running the hut to hut on the same weekend, but I did buy a mankini just in case. And
that's a step in the right direction,
mate. I haven't actually posted a picture of it online because I'll get fucking banned again, but I will just briefly flash it on camera. It's not
magic.
It's not excellent. Magic. It's not excellent.
See, I don't know if we can wear just the mankinis, even with the sides taped down, which is I would recommend that if you're wearing just the mankini. But I'm thinking mankinis with like a skin coloured undies or like bike shorts or skins or something like underneath. So at first glance it looks like they're nude, but for the sake of thinking of the kids,
the children,
we should probably have something underneath. So yeah, if anyone's keen, I'm always there. Let me know. I think we need to kick off.
We'll see if we can get a little bit of a group chat going after.
Yeah.
I've got a question from Tammy. I'm just having a look at these questions before they all get lost in my feed, so I don't miss any. What's your best tip for grip strength training? Tammy would like to one day conquer the monkey bars, and you did say you sort of got across that really tricky grip obstacle over in Barcelona, I think you said.
Yeah.
So what's your go-to grip strength training tip?
There's a couple of techniques that you can sort of use. So just start off by literally getting up on a bar and hanging on a bar. It's always it's always using your grip strength. You can also hang on the bar and then just alternate your grip. Do these backwards and forwards. That's using different parts of your grip strength or whatever. I have heard guys that would, if you've got some spare rice laying around, you can stick your fist into a bucket of rice, pour the rice around it, and then just do circles in the rice, which really builds up sort of the grip strength there.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, just there's I think if you YouTubed how to build grip strength, there would be 1,000 videos out there that would help you. But I find the best way is just literally jump up on a bar and hang off the bar and build your tolerance up to sort of actually hanging off the bar.
Yeah.
And set yourself some goals from there. I want to get to 30 seconds. I want to get to a minute. And see how sort of long you can go. And you'll actually find that just hanging off the bar will build up that grip strength. And also time, if you can get yourself out to like a training facility like Burns or whatever, they got a big long run of monkey bars. They got the inverted monkey bars. They got a twister out there that you can go and hang off and practice and run yourself through. And while we're on it, if you rip your calluses on your hands from the monkey bars, get some tea bags. What's it called? Brew some tea bags and then let them cool down, obviously. And I've heard holding onto the tea bags over the calluses is quite good to recover them. So pawpaw ointment as well. If you got ripped calluses, I swear by pawpaw ointment, it's really good for them.
And the tea bags, I haven't heard of the tea bags before.
Yeah, I've never done it before, but apparently it works wonders for them. So cool. Just a reminder, make sure they're cool before you hang on to them.
Sweet. And Tammy is in Sydney, so hopefully she gets out to Burns. I've got big JP, Josh Perizzolo. He won Muddy Hell on the weekend. I caught up with him on Saturday down in Melbourne, and he said muscle mass slows you down. Damn, love you, Hunty. You know what? For a big fucking dude, JP's quick.
He had a blinder of a year last year. I'm actually a little bit scared of. He's got the fire in his belly from last year, and he's going to be a force to be reckoned with if last year's anything to go by. So,
yep, yeah. There's a couple of really quick guys in the longer distance stuff, where I've seen Josh be the strongest, but Muddy Hell's only a 7K, so cool.
Yeah.
So I've got Mike, sorry, I'm just going through these questions. Bull's just saying, how good was your first win against Matt Moore? I think he means Matt Murphy. I think Brendan's beat me at every race, mate. That was where your spear throw got you through. So he was saying, he's spoken about this before actually, that was where Matty Murphy missed a spear. I think that was your first win or podium, elite podium or win?
I think that was my first win ever. And we were down in Melbourne and it was freezing cold. I had to delay the start of the race because it was the sun hadn't even come up yet. And yeah, I was to this day I still think Matty there was something off about him. He wasn't running like he usually did. But I managed to stay with him most of the race. And it was actually really funny. We went up over, sort of climbed up the cargo net and across the cargo bridge type thing. And I remember Max DeLacy saying, "Oh, here comes Matt Murphy." And I remember that specifically he said, "Oh, he's completely, totally undefeated in Spartan racing in Australia. He's looking good, this and that." And which he was at the time. He was, Murphy's one of the all-time greats. He's such a great athlete. And then, we came down to the spear throw and he missed and I think he was about 10 burpees in and I landed mine and was like, what do I even do now? I'm the Matt Murphy. So we had one last downhill and then back up the other side. And then it was like a sprint sort of finish home. And I crossed the line, and it was like, what just happened? Like, everyone's sort of standing there, like, not expecting me to come through. And that was actually back in the days when I was wearing my mankini. So there's all these photos of me, like, fist pumping over the last, like, fire jump and stuff because I was so stoked. Yeah, it's a cool memory.
Nice. And mate, what drives you to compete at this level? You know, to go up and take the win from Matty Murphy at his peak. You know, what drives you to compete at the level you do?
I don't know, mate. That's a great question. I guess I just love, you know, like I said, I'm a pretty competitive person. You know, I love sort of getting out there and making the most, you know, get the most out of life. And I've always competed in some sort of sport since I was, you know, real young. I raced motocross for 10 years when I was, you know, a lot younger, and raced BMX. I played soccer, you know, so always sort of competed. I think growing up with my dad as well. My dad is like the world's most competitive person, and never gave us an inch when we were younger either. So it was like, you know, you got to compete against him at all times. So I think that's where it came from. But yeah, I sort of lost my way a little bit last year with it, through injuries and stuff like that. It was, you know, I think I had a pretty good season in 2017, and then that rolled into 2018, and just lost sight of, you know, it wasn't about the joy and about the competing and the love of that. It was sort of, you know, a few other things crept in there, and didn't have the best season. So I think this year it's definitely changed. The mindset's changed a bit, and I'm sort of back, you know, enjoying the training and training sort of in a couple of different elements. And a bit more excited to see where the season goes this year. So
yeah, cool. Found the love for it again, and it was your ankle that went. I think it was during the 24-hour enduro. I remember the ankle was giving you a lot of trouble.
Yeah, so it actually. Sorry, go on, mate.
No, you go.
Oh, I did it 2018, December 2018, in a race in Hong Kong. Rolled it pretty badly, a kilometre into the race, and then rehabbed it pretty hard, and then again I rolled it again in April down at Tooradin, which I don't think it was too bad. I think it just tore the scar tissue, but it was, you know, it was back to square one, and I knew I wanted to race in the enduro with the boys, so sort of again rehabbed it pretty hard and did all the same thing I had to do all over again, and it was feeling pretty good come the enduro. And then my second lap into the enduro just was sort of coming down a little bit of a downhill, and just stepped on a rock or something, and that was it. It went out under me and tore some ligaments, and did a good job of it. So it was, you know, that sidelined me for a little while, but I think it was the rest that I, you know, sort of a bit of a forced rest that I actually needed. Like I said, I just wasn't there mentally, wasn't there physically, and was going into races, you know, half ready, thinking that I could still perform at the same level, and, you know, everyone knows that's never going to work. So it was a blessing in disguise, I guess. You know, gave me time to step away from it and get the mind right as well as the body. So
yeah. Cool. And is it back to 100% rehab wise?
Yeah, it feels strong, feels good. I just don't have the confidence in it. That's all. You know, it feels good on trails, and it hasn't sort of really given me any grief at the moment. But yeah, I just need to build the confidence on it. That's all. I think I'll be strapping it for quite some time still. So
yeah, cool. And Matt, I've got a couple of questions from Carlos that he asked earlier in the week. So I've just got a list of questions that people have asked on Insta and a couple of other places. One was, what's your after race cool down? Is there a ritual?
There's not. There never really used to be. I just sort of I'd like to hang around and cheer the guys in. You know, sort of the top 5 guys or whatever. I guess my after race ritual is always running back and cheering Jade home. I'll try and sort of run along, you know, as far back on the course as I can. And actually, it sort of means a fair bit, because I set it in my wedding vows as well. So I promised to always run back on course and cheer at home. So I guess now I have to. Mate, I think now I'll be doing a bit more of a proper actual cool down, going for a jog and having a bit of a stretch in that. In hot places, I like to go and find the closest dam or river and go and, soak the legs in it a bit. I find that's always pretty good. But yeah, I think if you just go for a bit of a trot, really slow, just shuffling along, get all the lactic out of the legs and clear all the waste, and then have a bit of a stretch, get out of your wet gear and get into some comfy gear and rehydrate, get some carbs and electrolytes and stuff back into your body to start the recovery process, I think is always pretty good.
Yep. Yeah, cool. And the river at Bright is amazing for that post-race. Just go and lay in that with a beer. It's amazing. And the second part of his question, which is sort of the same thing, but now we're talking about sort of the recovery, more the longer term, which is how do you manage your post-race soreness? Say your DOMs, say hours after the event or the next day. How do you recover?
I find whinging a lot to Jade always helps. She doesn't give me much in return, but I feel it makes me feel a bit better. I think just you got to keep moving. It's always hard. For some reason I like if I do a hard race or mostly a hard training session, jump squats or jump lunges, I find just destroy my legs, and I really suffer from some DOMs for a good week afterwards. So I think if you just keep moving and keep the blood flowing through them, that's always good. If you've got, I'm not huge on supplements. I've got nothing against them. I just don't really take that much of them. But I guess if you got a good balanced diet and you're sort of getting all your nutrients in, that's always helpful. And I've actually just bought myself a massage gun, which I'm pretty impressed with. There's always the foam rolling, the stretching. We do ice bathing as well. I find ice bathing, there's research on it being a placebo effect, and there's research on it actually having some good effect. But I always find the legs pull up a little bit fresher afterwards. So we'll generally have an ice bath after a particularly hard race. There's a wide sort of variety of stuff out there that you can use that I find you can tap into. There's quite a lot of knowledge as well. So generally, to summarise, I guess I'll have an ice bath and get on the massage gun, try and have a stretch and just keep moving, keep the legs ticking over, and
Yeah, cool. And the funny thing is with you said it might be a placebo effect, the ice baths, and I've seen research for and against. But if it feels like it's working, it is fucking working. If it makes you feel better, you're gonna perform better, and it is working.
It makes you feel better in here than Mate. What does it matter if it does nothing to the legs? So
that's it.
That's it. We find it's sort of the legs feel fresher and more. You get out feeling tingly, so it does something to them.
Yep, definitely. And do you get straight back into training? Do you take time off after big races, or do you sort of just keep on keeping on?
We're normally if we race on the Saturday, we'll normally have the Sunday off, and just sort of try and have a cruisy day. We'll keep the legs moving and head down the beach for a swim or something like that. Get some cold water on them again, and then. Yeah, depending sort of what race it's been or how we're going, we'll generally jump back into the training Monday, and ease back into it. We'll never sort of start smashing the legs again. But, we'll generally ease back into it Monday, Tuesday, and then sort of back into the normal routine Tuesday, Wednesday, depending how you're going. So
cool. With when you're racing as a pro racer, some weekends you're racing back to back. Is there any sort of taper? Before the racing?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll again, depending what race it is, we'll normally taper from Wednesday or Thursday. Generally Thursday we'll taper from. Sort of train up until Thursday, and then we might do an super easy 4K sort of jog on some grass somewhere on the Thursday just to keep the legs ticking over. Friday we'll have off, or we'll if we are traveling, we'll jump in. On the Thursday, we might just do a little light treadmill run, and then maybe do, you know, not even some weights, just do some dynamic stretching and stuff in the gym in the hotel. And we're generally pretty active if we are traveling for a race. So we do, you know, we'll do quite a lot of looking around and walking around and stuff. So that's always good to, you know, get the legs moving after you've been flying particularly. But yeah, we will taper from the Thursday, maybe have the Friday off. Again, we might head down to the gym and do, you know, 2 kilometers super cruisy run on the treadmill, and then go and do some dynamic stretching, and just to get, you know, everything warmed up for the next day. But yeah, we'll definitely taper before a race.
Yeah, cool. And you said when you do travel, you keep pretty active. A question that came in from Corey James Ryan was, how do you adjust or climatise when travelling overseas for races so that you're ready to go? You know, is there challenges that come with that?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, different time zones mess up the body clock massively. I find if you try and jump into the time zone straight away where you are. So, you know, if you leave here in the morning and you don't get to wherever you're going till sort of, you know, maybe that morning or whatever, try and push through that whole day and then go to bed, you know, at 8 o'clock their time like you would. You know, you're going to be knackered and it's going to be pretty hard, but I find if you jump into their time zone fairly quickly, I know me personally, I acclimatise fairly quickly, and sort of don't really struggle too hard with jet lag. So, yeah.
Yeah. What about different climates? Have you had to deal with any big climate shifts with travelling internationally?
Yeah, definitely. In 2018, we did quite a few races in Asia, and it's, you know, the humidity in Malaysia and stuff like that is just through the roof. So I guess, you know, we will try and fly in. It's hard, a bit harder with Jade's job. You know, it's a bit easy with my job, but Jade being a PE teacher, she's sort of more governed by school holidays and that. So she's pretty lucky that her school lets her travel for the races outside of school holiday hours. So we'll try and get there as early as we can, you know, a few days out from the race to get used to the heat and humidity or the cold. But it's, yeah, we just do what we can, and you know, it'd be great to rock up a week before every race, and you know, by the time the race comes around, you're used to the humidity and heat and that. But yeah, sometimes it doesn't work like that. So yeah, just I guess if you can get there a few days before and get out and get amongst it, you know, don't sit in the aircon of the hotel or, you know, in restaurants and that. Get out and get amongst the heat and humidity. Stay hydrated. You know, you don't want to just be drinking water. You want to be putting electrolytes back into you. You know, and try and not, you know, there's been races where we've gone and had a look at the race venue beforehand, and you know, we spent way too long out there in the lead up to it, and just got home back to the hotel cooked, and like, you know, that wasn't too bright. So yeah, I guess if you can get out there, if you like before the race, get out there and get in the humidity and heat. You'll be right.
Climatise as much as you can. I used to do that when I used to do project management years and years and years ago, and I used to run big events. So I'd sort of be on shifts, you know, running huge events that sort of didn't stop over weekends and stuff. And when I used to come off, if I had to like come off a night shift and go back onto a day shift, I'd do exactly what you said. I'd sort of stay awake all the way through, and you might be up for like 24 hours, but then you'd go to bed at like your normal bedtime, just shattered, and you'd wake up like 10 hours later and you'd be sweet. You'd be straight adjusted.
You know, it's 7 o'clock the next morning, and then you sleep right through and sort of get up, you know, that next morning when you normally get up, and I find you get into the routine pretty quickly. So
yeah, it's a good trick. And the other question that Corey did ask while we're talking about internationally, because you've won races in 10 countries, you know, how does the international competition stack up against the Aussie boys and girls?
Yeah, it's building along. Like it's like we did a lot of races in Asia in 2018, but there's a lot of people sort of coming from all over with these new race series that they've got. So there's a young bloke in Germany, Jan, and he's you know, he did a lot of the races that we were doing, which is where we actually met him. You know, now he's a good friend of ours. So he's come across. You know, there's a couple of French guys that are based in Hong Kong. And they're always, when they show up, and they're they're doing pretty well for themselves. There's a lot of expats in Hong Kong that they're always in the mix there. So I wouldn't say the competition, mate. It's hard to say. You never really know who's going to turn up on race day. So yeah, there's been races where you sort of have a bit of a look around, and it's like, I wouldn't say I'm confident with this, but we'll see how we go, and this might be my day. And then there's other races where you think, oh Jesus, this is a stacked field. So it's been good. It's been interesting. Met a lot of people and a lot of different walks of life from being able to travel to different countries and racing. So
yeah. And I think it's exciting as the sport grows and gets more recognition. It is going to start to attract a higher profile of athlete who might start travelling to hit OCRs.
Just have a look at Australia. The last couple of years. Have a look at Liam McKenzie. He was this last year he just dominated most of the races he went into. So you got guys like him, Josh Pezzo. There's I can't think of any at the moment, but there's quite easily a dozen guys coming through that. Yep. Young Dylan Party, he's had a blinder of the year last year. Yep. And they're all younger than me, and they're all highly motivated. So yeah, it takes a lot to be up there and keep motivation, and it's going to be, this year's going to be a good year.
Definitely. I think Dylan took out his first win, if I'm not mistaken, at the Melbourne Urban Sprint. I think he just got Tony Curtis on the line. So he's
But outside of that, you've also got the old boys like Tony Curtis, Lockie Danzy. But Lockie Danzy's a real old boy, so we'll just throw that little jab in there. But
I think he's younger than Tony Curtis.
But Tony's an old gentleman, whereas Danzy, we got a bit of banty on him, so we got to give him, shit anytime he can. So
he did actually ask something on my Instagram post that I forgot to copy in as a question, but I do remember seeing it because I'll be able to bring it up here. He said, there we go. How does he clean his mankini? Nappy sand? So, Lockie Danzy wants to know how you clean your mankini, mate.
How do we clean it? I get the gurney out and I a bit of nappy sand. It's more the skid marks that you got to worry about. You're standing on the stall next to all the guns, and I'm looking around and I'm dressed in a mankini. Yeah, it's pretty daunting. So, no, mate, just throw it in the wash, and I throw it in with Jade's undies and bras, and yeah, she loves that.
It's fine. Just hide it in there. Hope she doesn't notice.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, hopefully we do run a mankini wave, mate.
We got to make it happen. I think we need more interest in it for sure.
I might get banned from Spartan, but worth it.
They can't ban us all, sure.
Speaking of Mr. McKenzie, he did ask a question. He said, "Who's your favourite Australian OCR racer?"
It's not Liam McKenzie, that's for sure.
Sorry.
I sort of have to say my wife, don't I? Like, do I have to say her?
Is she in the room?
She's one of my favourite people in the world, so I guess that includes her. Nah, mate, to be honest, there's that many people that we know around Australia, from all over that they're really, it's amazing when you leave.
You there, mate? Looks like I've just lost Hunty's audio.
Favorite racer, there's always good banter with Liam, Lockie, even Murphy back in the day. When he was absolutely ripping. He's still ripping. He's always ripping. But there's a couple of guys that Ace. I mentioned Ryan Roberts before, Jared Page. They're always good boys to have a run with and a race with. And I really can't say anyone. There's too many awesome characters out there that just you love racing against, but they're your best mates as well. So
yeah, mate, it's an amazing community. I think that's one of the reasons why I got so attracted to it after I sort of did my first race and then got to know people and and went, fuck, this is just a community of absolute legends. And dickheads don't last very long. They seem to get chased out. Just to give everyone a bit of an update. I think my Wi-Fi just dropped out, so I quickly grabbed a hotspot off my phone. It looks like we're back online. So we did miss a little bit of you answering the question there, Brendo, but I got the gist of what you were saying. So I think we're back on live and we're good. I don't know. I've never had one drop out halfway in between, so I don't know how this software handles it. But
mate, I don't know how you handle any of this. There's no way I could set something up like that. I could set up a Skype call to do this. So
no, you're doing pretty well, mate. You're doing pretty well.
That's why I'm a pilot, not an IT guru.
All good. Mate, I've got a couple more questions here. Everyone's just letting me know that it's back online. So, Janelle's just let us know, or she's just asked, sorry, what's your diet look like? And do you have a different race lead-up diet, I guess? Say what's your standard diet look like, and then race week, day before, well, are there any changes?
My diet's not too bad. I think, we're athletes, we're professionals, we're elite racers, whatever you want to sort of call it. But at the end of the day, life's too short not to, enjoy a pizza and a beer on a Friday night if that's what you're feeling as well. Generally through the week, Jade and I are pretty good. We eat meat. We don't eat a ton of red meat. We eat sort of fair bit of salmon and stuff like that. We will eat sort of steak and sausages and whatnot. A lot of veggies. I wouldn't say an overly huge amount of veggies, but yeah, we try and throw the veggies in there. I'm really not a fan of like Maccas and fast food and that. My sort of kryptonite, I guess, is like a pizza. I love a pizza I'll eat pizza every night if I could, but still I try and go to the toilet and then I always hate myself. So, but yeah, I think if you generally keep Monday to Friday, and then Friday night you want 2 beers and a pizza, by all means, like, life's too short not to enjoy yourself and get out there and have some fun with it. So
it's all about balance, right?
Yeah, exactly. You gotta if you got all these fad diets and all these counting this and counting that and eating lettuce leaves here to try and it's not sustainable. It doesn't work. You need to find something that works for you, but it needs to be reasonable. It needs to be within sort of like a achievable parameters. And I guess for us is eating clean through the week, and then the weekend and that you're going to fun events on the weekend, you're going to mates' parties, you're going to whatever you're going to, weddings and stuff like that. So, no one wants to have that be that special person who can't eat, anything on the menu because they're doing some sort of weight loss diet or whatever. So, and then coming into race week, it'll just be, pretty much the same. Keep the diet virtually the same so that you're not upsetting your stomach or anything. I like to throw a few carbs in there depending which race it is. I wouldn't say exactly carb load, but I love my pasta. I love my pasta and those types of things, rice and carbs and that. So just keep it consistent coming into race day. Have a good breakfast the morning of, depending what race you're doing, and go from there.
What's your pre-race breakfast look like? What's your go-to?
Mate, yeah, again, it depends what race you're doing. We were doing a race, I think it was down in Melbourne or something, and we flew in really late. Our plane was delayed, and we didn't get time to actually go to the shops before we got to the hotel, and so we didn't actually get time for breakfast, and all I had was a Cliff Bar. And so I smashed this Cliff Bar on the way to the race, and I had a blinder of a race. I didn't feel really full. I didn't sort of have that like heavy guts, but I felt like I'm pretty sure it was a super. And I felt like I had plenty of energy, during the whole race. I didn't sort of get that flat, low. So most races I'll have like half to one Cliff Bar. I find, like I said, it doesn't make you feel really full and bloated. So, but anything that's going to give you that slow release. Oats are always good. Banana, I might have a banana and like a piece of toast with something on it just to give you something, but you don't want to be too full and too, you don't need a big breakfast, I don't think. So me personally, I don't need a big breakfast. So
yeah, that's my go-to. I usually have Cliff Bars. Cliff just works for me for my race nutrition. I have the blocks, gels if I'm getting really flat, but usually the bars and the blocks keep me going pretty well. I love bananas too, but can't have them before crazy exercise. I get really bad reflux. So, nutrition's just one of those really individual things. You just have to find what works for you.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Cool, man. And Shannon Spartan Moo has asked, do you take your own food with you when you travel? How do you avoid yucky overseas water?
We won't take it with us. I just find it's too hard trying to explain to people what you've got and what, trying to bring it into the country. Although I did take a bag of protein when I went to the States in...
Just like a Ziploc bag?
It was this like little clear plastic bag that was like, had white powder in it, and I forgot it was in my backpack and carried it all around America and then flew home and was like, ooh, they probably shouldn't have done that. So, we won't. We'll just... it makes it hard when you travel because, we love checking out different cultures and trying the food and, really getting amongst it and immersing yourself in that culture. So we'll just sort of play it fairly safe leading up to the race. You can always count on noodles and sort of, dumplings are always fairly good and things that, are pretty easy on the stomach. And we'll generally try and eat it in restaurants rather than like street food and stuff like that. But if we have the chance to stay overseas a few days longer after the race, we'll get balls deep into the street vendors and eat the chicken feet, or maybe not chicken feet. That's pretty gross. But we'll generally try. It's a lot of the overseas delicacies, I guess they call it. So yeah.
Cool. Jim's just asked, when are you coming barefoot log running?
No. Put some shoes on. Put some shoes on. No one likes your manky bare feet, all right? I'll come log running for sure. Let's cut some logs together for sure, but I'm wearing shoes.
Sweet.
And if you need me to bring you a pair of shoes, I'll bring you some shoes.
Shannon's just laughing at balls deep.
Sorry, kids.
Oh, mate, if there's any kids watching, that's some bad parenting. I swear like a gypsy pirate. Mate, 2 pieces of advice for anyone, let's say somebody who's looking to get into the sport or get a little bit serious about it, or somebody who's maybe looking to take it next level, maybe get onto an age cap podium. Let's take two pieces of advice you wish you knew back in 2012 when you got started.
I wouldn't say 2 pieces of advice from back when I started. I'd say 2 pieces of advice that I know for someone starting out. So the first advice I'd give is just sign up. It's daunting, it's scary, just sign up. Get some mates together, train together, turn up on the start line no matter how big, how little, how tall, how short, how dark your skin is, how light your hair is. It doesn't matter. Sign up, get your mates together, turn up on the day and go and do it. You'll absolutely love it. It'll be the hardest thing you ever do, maybe. You'll be destroyed after the race, but it'll be the best thing you ever do. It's that much fun, and there's that many people that are like, you see them and they'll post in the Spartans of Australia page. I'm doing my first race. I'm really daunted. I'm really scared. What do I do with this? What do I do with that? And then you see them a month later after they've done their first race, and they're like, "Oh, I can't wait to sign up to the super." What do I need to do now for my training and that? So there's that many people get bitten by the OCR bug. So just sign up, get your mates together, train for it, and do it. And I guess the second piece of advice, if you're looking to sort of step it up to that, age group podium, or even, jumping into the elite wave, I guess just, you got to knuckle down and you got to start doing the training. You can't just sort of jump into it and hope. There's been a few people that have jumped into the elite wave and you sort of standing there on next to them on the start line, and it's like, they don't look prepared for the race. They don't look sort of, and that's, if you feel like you belong in the elite wave, then that's totally on you. That's your call. And I would never push anyone out of the elite wave. That's not my call either. But I think if you feel like you want to call yourself an elite or sort of an age group podium racer, make sure that you're walking the walk as well as talking the talk. Get out there, do your running, do your training. Make sure that you sort of you got the race kit. You're not rocking up with a pair of Dunlop Ollies on the start line,
or barefoot,
as I've seen happen before. And just sort of, I guess you got to take yourself a little bit more seriously while still keeping it fun. You got to, it's to get the age group podiums or the elite podiums and that. You can't just sort of, expect everyone around you to sort of hand it to you. You got to work hard for it. So,
got to put in the work, and I couldn't agree more, man. I've seen so many, full-on beginners that have never done a race that have signed up to this, and it's just changed their life. And you speak to them a year later, and they're a dramatically different person. Like they're doing amazing things with the rest of their life. The first step was doing that race and getting out of their comfort zone. So it's
exactly.
Couldn't agree more. And you've definitely got to put in the work to compete at any sort of level. I think elites will be a qualification now. I think you actually have to qualify in 2020 to run elite wave.
I don't know if that counts to us. I think that's only the Americans and the US and Canada.
Okay.
I read somewhere that they need to qualify, but as is sort of standard with Spartan worldwide, it takes a few months, years for things to sort of filter out from Spartan HQ in America. So I don't know if that actually affects us yet, and I think going off the fact that we haven't really heard anything about it, and we're not too far away from the first race of the season, that I don't think that affects. I could be wrong. Sorry, Mel and everyone at Spartan, if I'm giving false information. But I believe that doesn't affect us just yet. So,
yep. Shannon's just said I got an elite code for the US. An email said outside of US, no code needed. So looking like you don't need a qualification for elite. And Jim said save so much money. I think he's talking about shoes.
Yeah. Oh, mate, it doesn't. You can go to Kmart and buy a $25 pair of shoes. Like, put them on your feet. Give your feet a wash. Clip your toenails and put them on your feet. It's great.
He's an absolute legend, Bull. I've got to get out and do another sand dune session. Bull can bring his log. Yeah. We'll invite you two out, Hunty.
Yeah.
Come and have a play.
For sure.
And you're a bit of a dress up fiend as well. Something you and I share. I know when I was trying to find some photos on your profile for the post, the social post for the event, you got some strange costumes, man. What's the weirdest thing you've ever dressed up as?
Oh mate, I don't even know. I love a bit of a dress up. I think with dress ups you got to get into it. There's no like, I'm dressing up by wearing a hat or a pair of sandals. Like I went to a mate's birthday, or was it his engagement? I can't remember. A few months ago, or sort of last year sometime. I think it was his birthday, and it was, you had to dress as like a sporting themed fancy dress. And true to my form, I had to go sort of slightly unpolitically correct, I guess. So I actually dressed up as Mitchell Pearce, the footy player. And had like a Roosters jersey and found like a fake sleeve and put that on my arm. And then also bought a little white fluffy dog and tied that to the front of my groin. So,
it was
it raised it. Considering that the pub was up in Newcastle as well. So, walking into the pub was rather tense, I think, at a certain point.
It was a good photo. I meant to, it completely slipped my mind, but I meant to jump on and grab it off your profile so I could bring it up on the screen. But yeah, that's definitely the one I was talking about. It was a good costume.
Yeah, I think I've had ones where I found, this is going back years, but I found some like inflatable, they're just like little inflatable balloons, but they've got like a bikini sort of string, and they're like inflatable breasts, I guess, that I went as like, had like a little puller skirt on and had that to a mate's party once, just, for a bit of fun.
I found some of those in my unit when I cleaned it out. Some inflatable breasts.
Yeah, I think you have to have a pair, once,
for emergencies.
Not doing it right. Yeah, exactly. Like, you never know when you're going to need some inflatable breasts. So.
Yeah. How many times have you dressed as a woman?
Too many.
Too many.
Too many. I don't know.
I think I'd be two hands. I'd have to be at least.
Yeah. Lend me your hands and then we'll start counting. I don't know. It's always fun. You can't take yourself too seriously. I think that's how I like to live my life. So if you're not laughing at yourself, then you're doing something wrong. So
don't take yourself too seriously.
Yeah.
Mate. No, I could not agree more. And mate, I don't have a lot more questions. I've kept you for a good while tonight. I guess
we've done well putting them to sleep.
No, I lost a couple actually when it dropped out. I've lost a few. Most of them look like they've jumped back on, but we've lost a couple. There was one thing that I wanted to mention. We did start on it at the beginning of the chat that you are a fiery, and I did see a post on your page a little while ago, just talking about people raising money for the fires and where to donate the money, and it was a very well thought out and well written post that you had done, and you're on the front lines with this stuff, mate. How do you think, because a lot of people want to help and they're not sure how. So how do you think is the best way people can, help out the people that are struggling?
Yeah, mate, it's a tricky situation. I've had a few chats with a few people, and if those people see this, I hope that I haven't sort of got you offside and offended you at all. But it's people want to donate, and people want to help, and donating is the easiest way, that people can sort of reach out and that. But I just think that, literally, not more than a few hours ago, we watched a news report where they said that St. Vinny's have received X million dollars, and they've only donated, not even a tenth of that. Red Cross, same deal. I think they had like 98 million. Don't quote me on these figures, but let's say $98 million, and they've only handed over $10 million to, because they're going to. What they said is they're going to keep the rest of the money for future disasters like this. And it's like, how does that work? Like, there's all these people donating to the Red Cross appeal, and they're going to keep the money for future disasters. Like, that doesn't sort of add up in my book. So, my best advice is keep your money, and when all this is blown over and it's sort of calmed down a bit, and the whole media hype has finished, go down to those places that are really struggling and buy their goods, tip them heavily, go into the cafes and then leave a $50, $20 tip, go and stay at the caravan parks, go and be in the community and inject your money into the community, buy the little trinkets from the trinket stores that are struggling,
just get those economies kick-started again.
Exactly. That, other than driving around and going to door to door and donating cash to actual people who need it, which is hard again because some people don't even have a house that you can go and drive don't donate money if you feel the need to, but I think a lot of people are under the impression that the money is going to go directly to the survivors, and I am in the belief that it's not, which is quite sad. So yeah, I think your money's a lot better directed towards going and injecting it into the local communities and into the cafes and into the places that are struggling. That's going to get them back on their feet. Like I said, leave a $50 tip. Like what's $50 to us? That is we're all doing sweet. We've all got our houses to go back to at the end of the day. Whereas we stayed down at Bateman's Bay in the Caravan Park where people have lost absolutely everything, and they're still spirits are so high and they're so positive, but they got nothing to go back to. So once they get back on their feet and they get maybe the house back, or they get somewhere to stay, they've still lost everything. So go and inject your money into those communities and be generous with it. Buy the stuff that you don't think you need that will help someone in the long run, I guess.
Yeah, mate, and I don't think you had any cause to trigger anyone, or I don't think you directly did that. The way I saw the post, it was very well written and well thought out, and you just having an opinion, and mate, that rattles some people. I trigger people every fucking day.
It's just about creating the conversation, I guess. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and
definitely.
If you don't agree to mine, I'll just delete you and block you on Facebook. No, of course not. But yeah, the discussion's good. Different ideas, definitely. And it gets people thinking. It's gets me thinking all the time.
Definitely, man.
So yeah,
you should always be prepared to take your opinions and replace them with better ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. All right, mate. Well, I haven't had any other questions roll in, so I'll finish on the question that I always finish on, which is what's your best race fail? What's the funniest shit you've had go wrong during a race?
I don't even know. I should be more prepared for that. Best race fail.
I thought you'd just have loads of stuff like.
Yeah, they're like, mate, like every race. Every race is maybe my first. Oh no, I don't even know, mate. I can't think of any. I'll leave it with that first Tough Mudder that I did. We wore, me and my mate who did them together. We taped our nipples because we were wearing the mankinis for the first race. And naturally we had to tape them in a nice big cross that stood out like like dog's balls. But it's probably a little known fact that when I was wearing my mankini to race, I would actually sew it to my running tights so that it would stay in place.
So you didn't have any downstairs nipple slips?
Yeah, well, yeah, not so much, but just so that it would stay in place to stop chafe. But yeah, okay. I learned the hard way that if you don't sew it into place, you get some epic chafe. I've had some chafe before, but yeah, you wait till you get mankini chafe. That's fun. So, yeah, maybe my biggest fail is that very first Tough Mudder, not sewing my mankini onto my tights, and yeah, not being able to walk straight for about a month afterwards. So.
Nice. And mate, you said you're fresh for this year. Your ankle's back to 100%. So I'm hoping that you're going to absolutely kill it this year. It looks like we're going to have a very competitive year's racing. Are you heading internationally for anything? Is there anything in the pipeline?
Yeah, we'd like to. We don't know sort of where yet. I don't know whether they did it on purpose or not, but I know Spartan Race, there's a lot of races that clash with a lot of other, races in different series and stuff. So, the Aussie races clash with a lot of overseas events and that. And obviously we want to do the Aussie races above all else. So, yeah, I think the first half of the year is sort of will be a bit quieter on the international scene. But, yeah, maybe the later half of the year, we'll get over to some different races. I'd like to head maybe back to the World Champs, that's either the Spartan or the OPR World Champs. It's been a few years since I was at the World Champs, and yeah, Jade believe it or not, hasn't actually done one yet. So
might head over to Stratton.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, exactly, yeah. Get over and the OCR Worlds looks like a pretty cool event. So I think we might try and get over there and have a bit of fun with that. So
cool. Awesome, man. Anything else that you wanted to bring up or chat about? Other than that, mate, I'm all done. It's been a good chat, man.
Yeah, it's been good. Thanks for the opportunity, and thanks for all the questions, and for everyone who tuned in. And hopefully, I didn't bore you to death. It was all right. And by all means, feel free to hit me up on Facebook, or I'm most of the time I'm posting dumb shit. But if you've got a good genuine question, I'll do my best to answer it.
Yeah, mate. I always see you in Spartans of Australia. Answering questions and taking a lot of time to write out some very detailed answers for people, mate. So that's to your credit. So it's getting a lot of love for people coming in. I had Vlad has written a lot of weird shit with emojis. I don't know if he just fucking had a stroke on his keyboard or something. Kerry's saying thanks. Matty Probes is saying thanks. Somebody call an ambulance for Vlad. And I'll let you go, Hunty, and I'll see you at a heap of races soon. Oh, Chelsea's just jumped on.
Oh, no, quick. Hang up, quick.
Hi. It's the first I've seen from Chelsea. Hi, can you please both address how you're emotionally managing being inferior to me?
Oh.
Well, I wear less.
And I got better hair than you, so easy. Done. That was easy, wasn't it?
Sweet.
What up, Chelsea? There you go. Done. Sorted.
I'm spewing Chelsea didn't jump on an hour and a half ago. That would have been a funny chat.
You snooze, you lose, Chelsea. Sorry.
Snooze, you lose. I'm going to have Chelsea on and chat to her soon.
All right.
Sweet.
All right.
Thanks, buddy. And I'll let you go.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Enjoy the rest of your night.